Hey fam, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Say It With Me Now. Say what? I hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday. We are here to discuss this reunion. So I saw it in the comments. I saw where you all wrote that Tamron Hall had Mary on the show. I do not know if I caught everything because I just went to YouTube and saw that there were like 3 clips on her channel, varying between 8 to 9 minutes. I watched all 3 clips and here I am. She opened up, Mary did, about her departure from her spiritual marriage with Cody. She mentioned how happy she is and that she has been focusing on self love, managing her bread and breakfast. Yes, I know it's bed and breakfast. And exploring new relationships. She's looking at the dating scene, all since her split from Baldy. Those are all good things, right? But what interested me the most, I gotta say, is Tamron. Tamron Hall interested me the most because she admitted before Mary even stepped to the stage that she did not want to host that show, that she was asked to do so, and she agreed to do so because there was a check. She said that over time, though, in doing the show, she gained respect for some of the ladies. She fell in love with the children, and it just became something that she enjoyed following. One of the women that she enjoyed from the show, surprisingly, was Mary, which makes me wonder how Mary is off camera. I feel like, and some of you all may disagree with me, and it's okay. Over the years, in reading things, I think that Mary gets a bad rap because we've seen a lot of her reaction to things, but we didn't get to see a lot of what was done to her. And in seeing how things have played out and in reading what we've been reading on the channel as far as these different polygamous communities, I've realized that there are things that have happened while Mary has been in this family that she will never admit. And it's unfortunate, but it's good to see her come out of her shell. So, this for me was my first time hearing Tamron say that she was told not to come back. When she said that, I said, "Say what?" And she was told not to come back because some people thought that the questions that she was asking was too tough. I laughed because it is so obvious who some people are. Tamron said that she doesn't feel like the bald eagle was a fan of her. And in the interview, Mary basically agrees, saying that she doesn't feel like he was either. But one of the main reasons is because Tamron holds people accountable. Understand that it is a major problem when the people that you are paying to be filmed are able to eliminate a host just because they don't like her questions. When I heard her say that, to me, it explains why Cody treats Suki the way that he does, because TLC has given his bald headed tail too much power. At what point do you realize that that's not what we want? We want the real. I don't know why, but I always assume that she was just let go. But hearing her basically admit that she was fired, it just hit different to me. It doesn't take a genius to know that the people who had problems with her were the feathered crew. And they kind of showed clips of it because whenever she would ask anything, they always seem to be the ones who were most offended. If you think back to the various tell-alls and the one-on-ones and whatever else, and you look and see, not just with her, but with others, over the years, The people who always seem to have the most problems is the feathered crew when it comes to answering questions. You got Cody who refuses to answer, and the bird who seems to always fake a panic attack. Like, for whatever reason, whenever it gets too tough for her, I can't do this. And she's ripping out cords and doing all these other things. Meanwhile, the others are sitting there and answering their questions. So I've come to the conclusion, and this really, really sealed the deal for me, that I enjoyed watching Tamron host the show because with Tamron, there was no fluff. Now, she tried not to offend them. And even in some of the clips, you see her saying, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just saying da 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 da. But she obviously did. So let's get to what happened. Mary comes out. They embrace. They both are emotional in this embrace. It kind of surprised me, but it just goes to show you that there's so many layers to Mary that I don't think we get to see. So they're both emotional, with Mary pointing out that she is honored to be on Tamron's show, that she never had an issue with Tamron, and that she is excited to talk to her. Seeing Mary in this interview and thinking back to the way Mary was in previous ones, I think that while married to the bald eagle, that Mary held back a lot because she did not want to get in trouble with her husband. I think she was bound. And I think a lot of what we saw in her appearance was the weight of that relationship, was the weight of that dynamic. Because there is a difference in Mary. Like, she is glowing. She looks happy. Her eyes are sparkling. Her smile is genuine. The people in the audience are receptive of her. It's just something different. Mary looked good. So Mary admits that she agreed to do the show because of all that came out about Warren Jeffs. Now, we already know that. We've heard it time and time again. I didn't understand how bad it was. If you're not sure, I'm currently reading a book by one of his nephews, and it's good because it gives a whole nother side to it, and understand that Warren was vile. So she said that she wanted them to do this because she wanted to show that there are other polygamous communities, other polygamous families that have good, that are good, that don't do the things that they do. So the goal was to show a healthy family. Tamron points out that she herself at first was skeptical, but by the time she started interviewing them and things of that nature, she believed what they were showing, because meeting them and meeting the kids changed her mind. And I think that Tamron, when she said that, she summed it all up for all of us, because I think over time we all fell in love with the family, with the children more than anything, and seeing them grow up. Y'all know, if you've been here long enough, that Hunter is one of my faves, and I think he's one of my faves because I saw how much he struggled at various points, and to now see him thriving, and know he went to the military and he's in the medical field and all those things, based on the way that he struggled when he was, younger, and with the moves and everything else, you wouldn't think that he would become this wonderful person. And it's just great to see. It's great to see the development of everybody, right? So for Tamron, she's saying that she genuinely cared about the kids, that the kids were awesome. And Mary agrees. She's like, if we didn't do anything else right, we did right with our kids, but it all fell apart. And Tamron points that out. Mary talks about how, her 30 plus years of marriage with the bald eagle was. She admits that there was jealousy and that she wasn't the only person who struggled with it. For her, it was an emotion that she was taught very early on that she was not supposed to have. And it wasn't until more recent years that she realized that all of her emotions and all of her feelings are valid. As I heard her saying that, I said self-worth is so important. And I think that Mary might have actually worthied up and got some self-worth here, because she's speaking to her emotions. And for one, she's not talking negatively about them, because for many, many years, Baldy Locks made her feel like her emotions weren't valid. The birds were, but Mary's weren't. So hearing her say it's valid and hearing the audience, clap and things of that nature, it's just good to see. So Mary speaks on how she often felt like she was less than because of the fact that she didn't have as many kids, but over the years she put in just as much if not more work into the family. You heard that, bird? She's talking about you. Because let us be clear. Mary put in more work than the bird. I think that Robin feels like because she won the affections of Cody and because she was able to grant him with two more kids when those other ladies didn't want to have any more, or in Mary's case, were unable to, that she is just like this high ranking official that's better than everybody else because you popped out some more kids for your man. And for Mary, I think that she's realizing that no, you're not going to sit here and act like I'm not of value just because I couldn't give you more kids. Because I no longer believe in a lot of what we were taught. So she says, because Tamron asks her, about the legal divorce and which was harder for her. Was it the spiritual divorce or the legal divorce? And Mary says that for her, the first divorce, the actual divorce, was harder than the spiritual one because when she did the legal divorce, it's not something that she was necessarily ready to do. I have said it before and I'll say it again. I think that Mary thought that by giving him that divorce that it would allow her to get closer to Cody. I think that they talked her into it and she still to this day doesn't even realize that they talked her into it. I would have loved to hear more about that, but this is why I think it's time, Mary, for you to really really speak. Part of the problem with this interview for me is we didn't really learn anything new. More has been put out in the last couple of weeks than she said on this show, just because she's still bound by contract not to say certain things. And I think that it does a disservice to them that they can't speak on certain things, especially when we see already how it's playing out. She said that by the time the spiritual marriage came around, she was out and she was done. And the audience claps. I do feel like she was done, but I still believe in her heart of hearts, if Cody had changed his mind and started acting like he actually cared about Mary, Mary still would have been with him. So, Coyote Piss Pass is mentioned, aka Pooville, the place with all the Perry poo. And Mary says, I can't really divulge much, but I have fight in me. I'm a fighter and I'm going to get what I deserve. I hope that she actually does get what she deserves. And I hope that she gets more than, a cut of $600,000 because I know that she put way more into that in the bird's nest. So Tamara makes it clear that while hosting the show, one of the things that she noticed was that there was at times a lot of tension, specifically on set in between Mary and Robin. And Mary's like, "Oh, really? Yeah." She says, "Yes." She wants to know where she stands. So Mary can't really say. She does say that they do have some conversations coming up in the next season. So Tamron's like, I noticed that there were times where I would ask you certain things and you would look to Cody and she was always extending her hand. Like she was always kind of doing like this, basically saying she was trying to guide the conversation. Mary confirms that Tamron is right. We all saw that Cody often looked to Robin in those tell alls. We all saw that Robin often spoke for people when the question wasn't even directed towards her. It was being directed towards one of the other wives or Cody. And she always was the mouthpiece. So hearing Tamron say, like, I noticed there was some tension there. I noticed that there were times where I would ask you something and Cody would look and you would look and Robin would be like touching him or like kind of cutting it off. Understand, Tamron was onto those people. That's why the feathers don't care for her, because she was onto them. Mary confirms Tamron's right. We're gonna have to watch. She says currently her relationship with Cody is non existent, that she right now is grieving their divorce. I kind of struggle with this because I feel like Mary should have grieved it a long time ago. I'm talking about like when he stopped having relations with you. You should have started grieving then. But then another part of me is like, okay, reading these books, seeing that for them, they're brainwashed very early on, and the dynamics of this, and them really believing like this stuff that they're being taught is true. I'm going to show her a little bit of grace there. She says that what she's grieving about the divorce is that she was hoping that they would be able to be kind to one another. And looking at things and seeing at how things have played out in her interactions with the bald eagle, she's realizing that he isn't kind to her, and he thought that he would be kind. So now she's protecting her space and she's protecting her peace. She's dating despite how hard it is. She is on dating apps and, she's happy. I don't know what else went on. That's basically all I got from it. If you got something else from it, let me know. It was nice to see. It was nice to see these two women reunite. It was nice to see that the both of them have an affinity for each other, that they both respect each other, that even though some people, the Feathers, didn't care for Tamron, that the others were okay with her, that the others respected that she was there to do a job. I understand that as a host, there are certain questions that you aren't going to ask. And Tamron even mentioned the fact that there would be questions about like their sex life and things of that nature, and she felt like there was no need to ask those questions, but for her she felt like the jealousy thing was a legitimate question. And when she said that, it makes me wonder how much input they as hosts have in the whole process. Like, do they get to pick some of the questions, or is it a thing where production gives them everything, or did she go off script and they didn't like it? Like, what exactly happened that the Feather people, even though she doesn't say it was them, but that the Feather people were able to get her, fired? You all let me know what you thought of the interview if you watched it. This is going to be an interesting season. I hope that we get something out of it, but I don't know. I feel like there's so much that's been revealed online that I hope that this season actually gives us something. Anyways, thanks so much. Please like the video as it helps the channel. I got to try and get back in this Sister Wives algorithm, and hopefully you helping by liking the video gets it going. Until next time.